shoot. I surrender.
We're not gonna shoot you.
We want to re-educate you.
You see, son, you're just the product of an alienated economic class, lashing out because you feel powerless and unloved.
You've been disenfranchised by the bourgeois power structure.
That's right.
I stole a car. I'm a thief.
Well, son, if you think about it, all property is theft. Scumwad, put your hands over your head!
I can't! I'm a Tyrannosaurus!
Hi.
Alrighty then. Always a great intro.
For real. Hi everyone, we are the Red Army and today we are doing the news.
I'm not doing the news this time. I have lost my job and it's sad out here.
What job are you talking about?
The news job thing, obviously.
No.
You're still here.
I guess. I'm here in spirit. Just here hanging out.
Alright, what do we have today, Seth?
So the most breaking news that we have actually happened about 30-40 minutes ago. So as you all may know, there is currently a large $3.5 trillion over 10 years reconciliation package in the House being worked on by the Democrats. And one of the main things that they want to try and get into the bill is a pathway to citizenship for all of the current immigrants and DACA dreamers. And so the Senate parliamentarian, which is actually an unelected person, I'm not really sure exactly what purpose they serve, decided that it doesn't really fit the rules, so that they can't include it in the bill. Now, if you may remember from the American Rescue Plan back in March, I believe, this same person, the Senate parliamentarian, is the one who cut the $15 minimum wage, federal minimum wage increase from the bill. And the Democrats were just like, all right, fine. And so, as you may or may not know, the party in power has the ability to overrule or just fire the parliamentarian, which the GOP did, I believe, under the Bush administration. And so, theoretically, if they wanted to, they could overrule this decision in order to get the pathway to citizenship for all the immigrants so that they can receive more benefits and work opportunities, etc. But if you wanted to hear my opinion, I don't think that Kamala Harris is going to do it because the onus is on her because she is a tie-breaking vote in the Senate, and she's not the most progressive on immigration, to say the least.
No, I wouldn't think so.
Yeah. So that happened about, like I said, 45 minutes ago. A lot of people are saying, hey, they should overrule the parliamentarian. And we'll just have to wait and find out if they ignore it, just like they did in the American Rescue Plan, or if they maybe change their mind and bend the rules a little bit. As you all know, Democrats are a huge fan of controlled opposition so that they can shift the blame away from themselves. But maybe if there's enough loud voices telling them to do it, they'll do it.
Yeah. I mean, that's all they really do is they say they're going to do something. The Republicans stop them from doing it, but even though they can still do it, they choose not to. It's just so because at the end of the day, they don't actually want to do these things. They just want to be the guys who disagree with the Republicans without actually ever doing anything.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to, they're pretty obvious about it. There have been 2 times in recent months when Nancy Pelosi has openly said, we need a strong Republican Party, and which is ridiculous because the Republicans don't say that about the Democrats. They don't say, we need the strong Democrats. No, the whole controlled opposition for the Republicans thing is supposed to be some kind of secret. But then they're like, we need you guys to be strong. Like, what?
Okay, so what should the poll be? We're gonna do a poll. Will Kamala let the Dreamers? What's the
get citizenship?
Okay.
That is the topic at hand.
Okay.
Yes. So answer the poll whenever it gets put in. Do you think she would do it? I don't think so. My personal opinion.
Gonna do it either.
I don't think she would do it on her own accord. I think that there is a chance if there is enough pressure from Congress and the Senate, if they, make their voices heard on television and Twitter and such.
Mm.
Okay, we have a poll. Yes. Electoralism, gross.
Yeah, I mean, electoralism is not particularly, our field, but it is what's going on in the world today, for better or worse. So it's important to talk about what's happening.
Right. This does impact our lives.
Definitely talk about it, see what's happening.
Right.
Yeah.
Even though it's not our preferred means of social change, it's what is the, accepted means of social change.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what we got. No, 64 says no.
How are people voting more than once? Are you using the points?
Yeah, they're
I think
using
so.
their channel points.
Yeah. And then, so while we're finishing up this topic, and on the same topic of immigration, it was yesterday, I believe, that photos and videos surfaced of what seemed to be a few thousand or so immigrants on the Mexican border coming from Haiti, and they were all just kind of just chilling, waiting to be processed by immigration and border and such. And then a few hours later, after that, all that news came out, the Biden administration was like, "All right, we're gonna kick you guys all out." And the way that the AP News framed it was like, sending them back to their home country. Like they deliberately tried to avoid the term deportation, which is what it really was. Mm-hmm. And so, and as unfortunate as it is, Biden's been doing a lot of deportations already so far this year. So it's sort of in his character. And like, what really sucks is that, if Trump was doing this, all the media would be up in arms about it and just losing their shit. But no, it's like, and then Biden's doing it and we're like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, there's definitely a way we could analyze the way the media is portraying it, because there's definitely someone's just, Keish Khan said manufacturing consent. It is, they're just, the rhetoric that they use compared to when a Democrat does it and when a Republican does it, it's just so completely different. And it's hard to, when you say this stuff, it's hard not to sound like a Democrat, a Republican, or whatever. And they say, "Oh, well, the Democrats do the same thing, but you guys are fine with it." Like, well, I mean, that's exactly what they do. They do the exact same thing. They do the same deportations. They do the same kind of imperialism. And at the end of the day, is how the media like to frame it as, they're doing is good now, or it's not the same thing. But in reality, at the end of the day, it's still the same oppression, no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, Haiti was recently hit by a really devastating earthquake. I think hundreds, if not a few thousand or so people died. Most people affected have not received proper aid, according to the UN I saw earlier. And so obviously they want to come here because, we have more opportunity for a safe life than Haiti currently. And part of that is because of the U.S. has been very heavily involved in destabilizing Haiti. The last president who was assassinated was violating their constitution because we propped him up. And, it's sort of like you can't mess with someone's house and then expect them not to come to your place if they need help, and then just tell them to go. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What we did was, destroy these places, and then we're upset that they want to leave those places. Like, we're digging our own grave by this saying this.
I mean, even though we're not really improving much on not destabilizing places, there are a handful of politicians who are, being more open about why immigration is the way it is. AOC said on Instagram a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago, where she said, the reason why we have the border crisis is because we're destabilizing these countries. And even though, again, like I said, we're not really, improving our foreign relations, it's good a little bit that, it's being more in the mainstream as to why things are the way they are.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're gonna get us canceled for an AOC.
I mean,
I'm kidding. Hold on. I'm gonna go get a jacket. You guys can talk.
Yeah, Keish just said in the chat, the U.S. creates refugees. Yeah, that's the thing. We were talking about, we're going to cry and complain about the huge refugee crisis, but let's see why there is a refugee crisis. Why is it such a huge problem? Because we went over there for resource extraction, for capital extraction. We destroyed where they live. We have sent them into horrible living conditions. So there is no other choice but to go to the place that isn't being bombed or whatever, that isn't being attacked, that isn't being destroyed, that isn't being destabilized. yeah, they recognize that America is doing this stuff, but they also recognize that America is since America's the one that's doing it, it's not going to be happening there. So yeah, of course they're going to go there.
It's always fascinating when Republicans talk about immigration and they talk about the border crisis, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
They always talk about it as if like these people at the border just appeared out of thin air, as if like they just came here because they felt like it.
Yeah, they just woke up one day. It was like,
right.
I feel like going to America.
Right, like At what point do the American people realize that that's just a load of horse shit? That, people don't just come here for no reason.
Yeah. I don't know when or if they would ever get to. I mean, maybe they probably would. To be on the optimistic side, they probably will eventually get to that conclusion. But when?
Yeah, I want to be hopeful that eventually people will start to realize, hey, we shouldn't be doing these things, and et cetera.
Yeah.
But like whoever it was said earlier, there is that massive effort of manufacturing consent around immigration in the media to say this is why the problem is this way because of how we want to frame it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're never really going to go to the full extent of how deep rooted this refugee crisis is to the American capitalist system.
Yeah, I mean, you can also definitely tie in anyone that opposes, taking refugees to just any sense of white supremacy and white nationalism, because most of the time these days people coming in as refugees are not white. And so if, people on the far right see that, even if they don't openly admit it, they just want to keep the white population as high as possible. And I think that's a pretty reasonable conclusion. I mean, there's also the whole stuff about.
There's definitely
Go ahead.
Yeah, I believe there is definitely I don't know if it's true or I forgot where I heard it, but that there's a higher population of illegal immigrants from European countries. But whenever the topic of illegal immigrants come up, it's usually about Latin American people from the global South. They never talk about the guy from England overstaying his visa.
I haven't heard that, but I totally believe it because it makes sense.
Yeah. These people aren't in the same fear that a lot of people from Mexico, Chile, Brazil, or whatever, they're not in the same camp of fear that somebody from a Western European country is in.
Yeah, I mean, especially if that person from a European country, let's say, is, producing more capital in some way or another, or if they're, beneficial to some business or whatever, then yeah, they're going to get a pass under the radar or something. But if they're just some expendable worker, as, the government or corporations see, then yeah, they're going to be brought up as an issue earlier on than later.
Yeah.
All right, Sal, you wanted to start talking about the topic of company towns because there was this sparked some discussion online recently because there was an op-ed in Bloomberg, I believe, where they said, Amazon company towns would be good for the economy and something like that. And obviously we all agree that would be really bad, but let's talk about why it would be bad.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen how it comes out to before. I mean, it's just basically just looking at history, but of course we could definitely go into more in-depth talk about it.
Well, and, I'd like to start out with, let's think to what our lesson was on Labor Day, okay? What did that involve? The Pullman town, the town of Pullman, right? That was a fucking company town, and what happened was they cut their wages by 28% while they kept gas, water, rent, food, everything in that town was too high. You know, they decreased the wages, and yeah, and so that actually led to a strike, and that's fucking the government was sent to kill like a whole bunch of strikers, and what we ended up getting out of it was Labor Day, which
Yeah.
the majority
Which
of workers cannot
don't even get
fucking
off.
take off Labor Day.
Yeah.
You know, like, are you fucking kidding me? Some bullshit. So yeah,
And-
company towns bad, but right now
I think
they're
the scary thing is, go ahead.
right now they're repackaging them to be called innovation zones.
Yeah.
Sounds so cool,
Yeah, they're
right?
repackaging them because a lot of people today have not experienced company towns,
Mm-hmm.
so they don't really know how bad it really is, and it's not really taught in our education. I don't. If I look back to what I learned in high school and stuff, I don't think they ever really went over company towns.
I mean, the last company town, according from a quick search that I came up with, ended in 1935, the coal mining towns. And to some people, that might have been their grandparents. So it really wasn't that long ago.
Right.
But yes, if you weren't taught about it in school, then it makes sense you don't know much about it. But from a video that I saw earlier, where some people who had grandparents who were in these company towns, they basically explained it as if you were essentially trapped in this town because all the furniture, the food, the health care, etc., all like the basic necessities of your life were bought with,
Script.
coal bucks or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you had your wages tied to your company so they could, and then so the company could keep accruing their own capital without having to like pay you in actual money.
Right. Yeah. So like
Yeah.
they were just getting buku rich. Actually, a company town that's still kind of around today is Hershey. Hershey, Pennsylvania. Chocolate King's Industrial Utopia.
Uh,
So,
It's a fun
yeah.
park, but I didn't think of it that way. I think yeah, you're right.
yeah, you are like there is wage slavery, and then there's living in a company town, which is just slavery. Yeah.
Right.
Because you're not getting paid in actual money, and you're getting paid in the company like
Script.
whatever
It's called
company
script,
script or
yeah.
whatever, and then that's the only thing you get paid in, and then so you have no choice but to shop
At their
these company
stores. Yep.
Yeah, and their doctors and stuff like that. So, in their homes and stuff. So they have no choice but to, they get paid, quote unquote, get paid by the company just to give the money instantly right back to them. While the company is just making so much fucking money. Because it's just a way that they don't have to pay anybody, but they could still make as much money as they want. Because I think they aren't paying anybody when the money's just going right back to them.
Oh, you know what? Actually, there's one in Scotia. I don't know if that's how Scotia, California. I've like literally never said that word in my life. I didn't even know that was a city. But one of the longest surviving company towns in the United States. So it was done in the 1880s by the Pacific Lumber Company, which needed housing for its loggers and mill workers. Oh, Nova Scotia. So it's Scotia. It's Scotia. Nova Scotia lumberjacks who were among its early residents. Yeah, that's
Isn't Nova
cool.
Scotia in Canada?
Yeah. But this one is Northern California. Yeah, so they filed for bankruptcy in 2007.
Wow, that was not very long ago.
Nope, it wasn't. They were comprised of 700 or 270 homes, several churches, a hotel, and a handful of other like commercial buildings. Interesting.
How long before once company towns become a big thing again? Before we start saying company town tourism, like, hey, come see how these people live and see how much better it is over here. The company's taking care of you.
Let's talk about why Amazon is the one that is, at the forefront of this threat of company towns. And I think that's more or less just because they're being able to monopolize everything. Like you can get everything you need from Amazon, so therefore they have this like claw on people's lives if they want to.
Yeah, yeah, they already moved into the groceries thing.
Yeah,
with food. So why go anywhere else? Why shop anywhere else? You get everything shipped.
Oh my God, that'll be their slogan.
Why go anywhere else?
Why go anywhere else?
Oh, yes.
And the funny thing is, we're doing this on Twitch, which Jeff Bezos owns. So
Fuck you, Bezos.
Someone said in the chat, every time we talk about modern company towns, I imagine the scenes from Sorry to Bother You. And if you have not seen that movie, I highly recommend it. And I was going to mention that as well. It really does a great job of depicting the dystopia that a modern company town would be. Have you two seen the movie?
No, I haven't.
I have not.
No.
All right.
I'm definitely going to watch it, though.
It is basically, the director, Boots Riley, is a communist.
Oh, nice.
And which is really cool. He is not online very often. His Twitter account is currently deactivated. But during the last round of Cuba protests, he came online for like a few days to like debunk every single falsehood about Cuba and talk about why X, Y, and Z is wrong, and then deactivate it again.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
You guys are stupid. Peace.
So,
but yeah,
these innovation zones, they're like mainly being pushed by like giant tech companies,
yeah, I mean, I would imagine
in Nevada.
Oh, really? Like this is actually starting in Nevada?
Yeah. So it says recently proposed legislation could help build the economy.
I remember this. I remember
right
this.
Here in our state. Building a place where technology and talent from all around the world come to create, collaborate, and innovate.
I mean, just look at the way they're saying it.
I know.
I think this is definitely they're definitely gonna be pushing company towns a lot more into the future. Yeah, it's definitely gonna happen.
I would imagine two other big players that would try and shoot for company towns would be either Apple or Tesla, and maybe Microsoft.
Oh yeah,
just because
fucking Elon would love that shit. He'd be like, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, they're already basically treated.
Elon Musk is gonna do it,
right?
Yeah.
They're already basically treated as poor as you would be in a company town.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So like, it's like, what does he have to lose?
So some of these requirements for the applicants are immediate investment of $250 million into the land and infrastructure in the proposed innovation zone.
I just want to say, speaking of Tesla and Elon Musk or whatever, there is a SpaceX launch facility in the city I'm in right now. So I'm gonna have to. I didn't know because I remember hearing like, hey, something about SpaceX in the city I'm in. I'm not gonna say it, but I was like, yeah, there's one here. I was like, oh crap.
Yeah, I have one in my town too. It's pretty funny. Okay, so yeah, it's an immediate investment of $250 million into the land and infrastructure. Commitment to invest at least $1 billion over 10 years to develop a smart city within the zone. Specific qualifications and expertise in the development of the innovative technology. A special tax or fee revenue for the state based on new technology developed in the innovation zone.
Did they mention anywhere, like in particular? You said it was Nevada, right? Like, are they trying to revitalize some of that unused desert land or something? Because I feel like most of the habitable area of Nevada must be populated by now.
It says it wants to employ 124,000 people in a multitude of different jobs. So it's like promoting. I don't know specifically about that, but
I'm just curious where, because it's not like we have tons of open space available in this country.
Right. Innovation zone. What
feel
impact
like-
would this have on the surrounding counties? Oh my god. What is the estimated benefit in jobs and revenue? What is the risk to the state? Who are we trying to attract? Why now? How would this smart city work? Who runs it? What is the timeline for this to become a reality if legislation passes? Does this bill benefit one entity? No, I'm sure it's going to be like, it benefits you too. Would companies located in an innovation zone require tax incentives like abatements? Is an innovation zone a company town? Ooh! What does it say? Ooh, of course it says no in big letters. No! An innovation zone will be comprised of a wide range of businesses and organizations doing business in the is. Oh my god, it's in the is. Not all of these will be affiliated with a developer. For IZ are not created for the exclusive purpose of any one company. Oh, okay. I believe you, Sweaty.
So it's just a company town light.
Right. I mean,
Which,
they're going to have to,
I mean,
buy contracts with the people in the innovation zone. Oh, my God, the way they look at it. Oh, holy shit. How is this possible? Okay, I'm going to share screen because this fucking picture is just... Whoa.
I am concerned and curious about seeing this.
Wait, what the hell? What?
Hold on, let me find
I just
it.
realized we're in together mode.
I'm sharing the screen. But hold on, I just lost it. God damn. It was like this oasis in the desert. Like, first of all, how are you going to get all the water out there? Like, that's going to be so fucking expensive. I don't know. Oh, here it is. Oh, shit.
Oh my
Do you
gosh.
fucking see that? Oh my god.
Wow.
I don't see it up on.
I'm gonna.
Are you-
Yeah, here we
Okay.
go. Look at this,
Wow.
folks.
That is.
See, that looks straight out of a movie
That
scene.
is just. Yeah.
It looks like
It
it's
loo- it
on
looks
like
fake.
Mars, doesn't it?
Yeah. It looks like some kind of future city, maybe.
Yeah.
City. Mm.
Look, there's a
Um,
drone right here.
Mhm.
You know what that drone's gonna do? It's gonna bomb the civilians who don't comply with the rules.
That's a police drone.
You were late. You were 5 minutes late to work.
Oh
Now
my
you're back.
god.
You're
Oh, it's
expendable.
totally gonna be finding the people who are late to work. Oh shit.
You called out sick. You don't appear to be sick. Duh.
It like scans you for your temperature and shit.
Well, someone actually made that joke on Twitter earlier where they said about in an Amazon company town, oh, your Amazon house says your body temperature is not above fever. You gotta get to work now.
It's so fucking
Amazon temperature gun.
They
Amazon
specifically
doctor.
said your Amazon house, like in the Amazon company town, you're gonna have an Amazon house,
of course.
of course.
Oh my god. Why now? Expanding our state's economic base beyond reliance on gaming and tourism revenue is a priority for Nevada. So they're like, are they worried about money or?
So, I mean, I get where they're coming from. They're basically just saying we have exhausted all of our main ways of increasing the GDP of our state, which at the moment is primarily just tourism and the Strip, gambling. And so instead of trying to, use their money to provide for people more, they're just saying, all right, what's the next way we can make money?
We'll redo company towns.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, because there's definitely been a growing unrest with the system as it is. So they're just trying to give complete control to companies.
Anarchist Laboratory Sean said that we laughed about those drones, but yes, they are used to watch land water protectors. And yes, that's correct. I mean, they've definitely been...
Okay, so when we were laughing, we weren't laughing because we found it funny or because we weren't taking it seriously. It's just because we were just so in. It's hard to explain what we were feeling when we were laughing. It's just because it's just so absolutely insane.
It's dystopian that, like,
dystopian.
Because wow, like that's the first thought that came to my head, and that could actually happen. And you're right, because
that's all I can think about when people are like showing these like really cool videos of these giant robots. I was like, oh, those robots are going to be used to kick our fucking ass soon. Great. Mm-hmm. Like that's what I think about.
How else I know that's what's likely going to be. Have you all seen the robot dog from Boston Dynamics?
Oh,
as well as the robots that police in New York City have been using. What else? Like, yeah, it's already here. Yeah. I mean, the other obvious thing is that we have the drone striking program where we kill people across the world with drones, and that leads us into our next topic. If you're cool with moving to that.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. So. It was yesterday, I believe, that the Pentagon admitted that the last drone strike that we did in Afghanistan, that was meant to attack an ISIS terrorist, was actually killed 10 civilians, including 7 children, and the main target that they hit was an aid worker that was employed by an aid group that we run, and the guy was bringing jugs of water to his car, and they thought that they were bombs or something explosive, and their main claim that he was the terrorist is because he had the same make and model of the car as the suicide bomber from that attack at the airport. And so the most disheartening part about it all is that nothing has come out of it apart from just an apology from the general. Oops, sorry.
Sorry.
Like, oops, we wiped out a whole family. No consequences. Who cares?
Yeah, America is absolutely a huge terrorist organization.
For real.
To anyone and everyone, so...
I mean, what's fascinating about it is that most of the time, unfortunately, when we've killed civilians with our drone strikes, they go fairly unnoticed. And this thing of the Pentagon admitting it was a mistake, as it were, is an anomaly because, over the Obama administration, they killed lots and lots of civilians, 90% to be exact. Over, I think it was a few month period that Daniel Hale is now imprisoned for exposing. And I believe the main reason why they admitted it this time is because about a week ago, the New York Times did an investigation, a visual investigation, which is their new segment recently, a visual investigation into the drone strike, and they proved that it was not the terrorist. And so because they had the New York Times, which is really a mouthpiece of the government, if they had them saying that it was not the terrorist, they had to admit it. If there was no other outside investigations done into it, I think they would have just stayed silent.
Yeah. These fuckers.
Yeah, it's definitely an anomaly for them to actually admit to being wrong.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Blinken was asked about this in his last hearing as well. And this was after the New York Times had published their investigation, and Rand Paul had said, "Do you know who you killed with that drone strike?" And he was like, "Oh, we don't know. The investigation's undergoing." Like, the other part that baffles me about this is that, the U.S. claims to have the greatest intelligence system in the world. But is it really that good when you somehow mistake a civilian aid worker for a terrorist? Like, are you that either intentionally bad or they're just not as good as they say they are?
Well,
Somewhere-
remember,
I definitely
like,
do think it's a part of
fear-
incompetency because at the end of the day they are fucking idiots, but
I think
they're just idiots with big guns.
Yeah, but like also fear is part of their thing. They fear is the point sometimes.
Yeah. But I think we also need to talk about how incredibly incompetent. We talk about how America's just going in destroying these places, but we should also talk about how incredibly incompetent America is. Like, yeah, they have destabilized a lot of countries, they have had a lot of successful coups, but we should also look at how many coups they were unsuccessful in, how many times they had to try to coup these places that failed. So yeah, they are definitely a force to be reckoned with, but they are also pretty incompetent. So all they really care is about.
Yeah, I mean, I believe the latest coup attempt that we tried to orchestrate was Venezuela, and then that failed really miserably, if I recall correctly.
What happened in Haiti?
Haiti?
I think that
the assassination. The assassination was done by a DEA worker, the Drug Enforcement Administration. That information came out about a week after the guy was killed, and so I still don't think we know the true motives or the true impact. I haven't followed up on the story too much since, but I know things aren't much better. I don't know if there's a new president or a new prime minister, but yeah, that was pretty bad.
Yeah, and that was. I think it's pretty fucking safe to say that was, obvious American intervention, right? It was a little DEA agent, so.
Yeah.
Right, and you can tie that to if you use that as the root cause, and then the people try and find refuge here, and then we turn them away. It's all just a big cycle.
Right. So yeah, we literally. It's destabilization that makes people have to leave, and then we're just fuck you guys.
Yeah.
It's fucking upsetting. Another thing I wanted to talk about, what the fuck was it? Oh, manufacturing consent. Yeah, so there's this tweet that is kind of going around today. Big magazine publications keep putting out articles like, do you really need to eat 3 square meals a day? Or how good is oxygen for you actually? A scientist weighs in. And
really?
Yeah, and I found 2 that are similar. So I found, is water always the best choice for a hot day?
Yes.
I know, right? I was like, yeah, of course. And how much water do you actually need? The New York Times put that out yesterday.
Every time you're thirsty,
not only was that
8 cups, but every time you're thirsty, you should drink some water.
See, well, the problem about that is that I'm reading over someone who was tweeting about that. So basically, he points out most people don't read past the headlines. People who make the headlines know this, and the media is owned by extremely rich people. And regardless of specific areas of influence, the rich people share the vast majority of policy interests. So the main point is that even though in the article itself it gave really baseline information about when you should drink water and how much water you should drink per day, it was framed in a way to describe the water crisis that we're going to be seeing. And yeah, it's really important for everyone to understand how media works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they definitely do write the. It's not really even clickbait anymore because they don't expect you to actually click on it. They don't really care if you do. They just put out a headline that you expect to read and just move on. Be like, oh, this is all the information I need.
I actually clicked on one of them and it was the easiest way to tell is to check your urine, and I'm like, what? Can't you just drink the water without doing that?
Yeah, the best way to check whether or not you're getting hydrated enough is by seeing afterwards.
I mean, this also comes after, I think it was a couple weeks ago, when all of those celebrities came out with their headlines saying, "Oh, I only bathe my kids, once a week," or some weird shit like that. And we're
Oh
all
my
like,
God, yeah.
it could be one of two things. It could be them just casually saying weird, unhygienic stuff they do, or it could be manufacturing consent for water shortages. And I would say it's somewhere in between.
Right.
Yeah, it's probably a mix of both, and they're probably just fucking gross at the same time.
I think rich people are gross.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're
absolutely.
disgusting in many ways. They probably stink. Ugh. Shit.
I mean, I think in more like concrete information, the Colorado River, I believe, is Colorado River is having a drought in coming years. Let me double check that. Yes, so the first ever water cuts in August were declared for the Colorado River. In terms of the usage, I believe also the Southwest U.S. basin is having water cuts coming up as well. And so this is only Southwest as well as I think California as well. I think this is only going to exasperate in coming years. And it fucking sucks because a lot of this was preventable.
Yeah. Okay, so Keisha said, I know Ashton Kutcher has CIA connections. He does.
Yes,
And,
this is true.
And so is John Krasinski and Emily Blunt. They are pretty good with them. I remember John Krasinski was talking good about the CIA workers, CIA employees or whatever. CIA, and he also is doing a show right now, Jack Ryan, which is absolutely American
That
intervention,
shit looks
but
terrible.
yeah, it's just a show about American intervention, but America's good guys, so normal
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
I think the funniest thing
Blunt
about
is
him,
doing the first ever female Pinkerton. So
the funniest thing about
Wow,
Ashton
girl
Kutcher
boss,
was how he still has a tweet up where he's holding a mug with the CIA's logo on it, saying like, "I thank my intelligence members every day with my coffee," or something like that.
Cringe. Ugh. That is so fucking cringe.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up. On the topic of climate change, another thing that we wanted to mention today was so the IPCC report came out recently. That is the International Panel on Climate Change, intergovernmental, I believe. And so they detailed, just everything going on with climate change and what we can expect in the coming years, what we should do about it. And so, unfortunately, the White House has decided that this report does not present sufficient cause to stop offshore drilling in the Gulf of Mexico, I believe is where they're drilling. Correct me on that if I'm wrong, but I do know it is offshore somewhere. And so basically, that fucking sucks because Biden ran on his campaign, "Oh, I'm going to listen to science," and Donald Trump doesn't listen to the science. And even though he's claiming it doesn't provide sufficient evidence, environmental analysts have said that that is not the case whatsoever. And environmental groups are already suing him. Let me pull that up.
Well, he said that with everything, so Seth.
Yes.
Like, he said,
Yeah.
we're going to listen to the science, and then he's like,
Exactly.
and we threw that science out because it doesn't make us money. Like...
Yes,
Yeah,
I know
the thing,
he's gone back on most things he said, but it's just important to point it out when it happens.
Yeah, he said, "Oh yeah, we believe in science." And he probably does. They probably do believe in science. But the problem is, they never said we cared. We cared to
Right.
fix things. You just said we
Or-
believe it.
We just have
Right.
private bunkers to go to.
Mhm.
Right. Like, I can believe in lots of things, just doesn't matter if you want to do something about it.
Yeah.
Yes. So Earth Justice has filed a lawsuit in the federal court in the District of Columbia on behalf of the Healthy Gulf Sierra Club, Friends of Earth, and the Center for Biological Diversity. It was filed against the Secretary of the Interior and the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management following the notice of Biden's decision to offer 80 million acres in the Gulf of Mexico for oil and gas leasing. That's a lot of space. So, like, if they really cared about, not drilling for oil, they could have, let's say, bent the rules, which you can really bend the rules to any way you want if you're the president of the United States.
Yeah. You can easily just, not keep giving permits at the very least. Not giving permits to the fracking companies.
He didn't, restore any of the environmental protection acts that were stripped under Trump either. He was like,
I think he definitely reinstated some.
Well, there was
he went
over
back into the Paris Climate
300
Accords.
Everyone was so excited about the Paris Climate Accords. I remember when he was elected and such. But as we all know here, that's just kind of, there's no enforcement. It's sort of just like suggestion.
Mm.
Yeah, the thing with the Paris Climate Accords, everybody's oh man, it is so good. It is so good, but every single company has not met the goals. All of them.
Country, mean, right?
Countries, yeah. I mean, countries, companies, or whatever. None of them met the goals because guess what? None of them actually care. It's just a business deal in the green suit. It's to say, yes, we're going to do something about it. It's to get the people to shut up about it. It's to get the people to say, oh yeah, look at them. We are agreeing that there needs to be changes, but that's all it is. It's all for show because they're never actually going to do anything about it.
We're actually not the worst in terms of emissions out of the G7 nations. Canada is actually the worst. Fun fact, I saw that earlier today. So at least we're not the worst.
Right now. But we
right now.
Yeah, out of total, we have done the worst. But
yes.
Not right now.
People like to blame China for their high amounts of emissions when, and yes, they do have a lot of emissions from all of their industrialization. But one thing that I think is an important thing to account if you're going to blame China for that is a lot of their production of materials and goods and et cetera is for us. So the onus is really on us. But when it comes to statistics, the actual emissions aren't reported under us.
Yeah.
Which is how they get around it.
Right. Yeah, it's just a fucking dirty trick. Here, I'll put on the screen right now the fossil carbon dioxide
China
emissions.
Produces so much of it. Yeah. They'd be like, oh, China produces so much of this carbon emissions and forget there's a fucking billion of them. There's a fucking billion people living in that country. It's going to be much more than us.
Someone in the chat said that every IPC scenario calls for a huge increase in nuclear power, which they are for. I personally don't know a lot about nuclear energy, but I do believe that it is definitely better than what we have right now, so I can't really argue against that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do think nuclear power is better. I just have, a problem with it because just one wrong thing, just a little bit of human error, and guess what?
Well,
they have a nuclear meltdown. Of course, it just come down to human error, and that could just be simply fixed by having good regulations and having someone managing it well. But
I don't like what they do for the waste, of the nuclear energy. I'm I guess the only one here against nuclear energy, and that's fine. I will die here on this hill.
I think the nuclear waste argument is a pretty valid one. I won't knock you for that.
Because it's not like a matter of if it's going to breach containment. It's when, right?
Yes.
It's just when. So
I
definitely don't believe nuclear power is an end goal, or even that is not even a great source of power. I'm just saying that what we have now, what we're using, coal and gas, is nuclear power is better.
So if you check out these, global emissions right here, like China has only recently started to gain, and that is because we fucking put all of our industrial shit over there, So it's like, haha, this is on you now,
I would want to see an extrapolation of that graph where, like, I would imagine that peak point or that, that shift in 2002 or so looks like. It's probably around, what was it, like the NAFTA trade agreement when we sent our work overseas? That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Let's see if...
Yeah.
No, that was 1994. But it's probably around the same. Yes, so on Canada as well, they are having their general election tomorrow, I believe. And what's interesting about Canada, I think, is that unlike the U.S., they have a third party that is at least, I think, gets like actually some debate time. Whereas in America, we just have the Democrats and Republicans, and they have a social democratic party, which I think has a fair amount of seats in their parliament, but they're not like ahead in the polls to win the prime minister.
Yeah, definitely. Wind, solar, and hydropower is definitely better. Anarchist laboratory, Sean. Yeah, that is definitely a better power source. And but yeah, as you even said, the amount of space it takes, nuclear power, it definitely takes up less space, I think, than definitely the wind, because the wind power takes up so much space. You definitely see it a lot when you're driving through Texas. It takes up a lot of space. And I don't know if it even produces too much power anyway. Hydropower, you don't really hear too much about that. I think they just kind of abandon that. And solar power, I do believe that is a better option than a lot of the other stuff. You could definitely put, if it was a much more centralized system, it definitely where the power is meant to be going to place to make sure that everybody has power. We could definitely put this kind of stuff in like deserts and stuff where there's constant sun.
Yeah, so the new nuclear facilities are using thorium instead of uranium, which is more stable. But I don't know. I still don't like it.
Someone pointed out that people also claim that China has a lot of trash, but in fact, it's because we export our trash to China. And
oh my God.
I think that
yes. Oh, I just watched a show the other day that was talking about the fucking waste that is dead white men's clothes that get fucking sent to places like China and Africa, like, just
Southeast Asia is definitely a
trash and
big place where a lot of Western countries send them.
Like dead white men are causing problems.
The other thing about China and their waste is that in 2018 they banned the import of plastics and other materials that we had been sending there for recycling, and so recycling is a whole another issue on its own and a capitalist issue in itself as well. But because they don't accept our recycling anymore, we have to just put it in landfills if we can't actually recycle it in our own country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
We shouldn't be exporting fucking
plastic.
trash to other countries. Like, this is the trash that you made. You need to figure out what to do with it. You can't just
shoot it into space.
Like, literally, people do say that. So like,
I know people have definitely proposed that.
Why don't we nuke all the trash?
I feel like anything ridiculous you could possibly think of that has to do with trash or recycling, someone has thought of it and proposed some idea about it.
Mm-hmm.
But to your point about, we shouldn't be sending away our trash, I mean, the U.S. is not very good on responsibility.
Right. You're absolutely right. Shirk it whenever possible is our motto.
I mean, this is the first time I'm hearing that China was getting sent to trials because I mostly hear it's about from Southeast Asia, from other Southeast Asian countries and countries in Africa. I mean, this is the first I'm hearing China took it in.
I don't know. It was just this thing. I'm probably misremembering like facts, which is excellent to do. But
I know
yeah.
my point about the recycling thing is true. And that only, like I said, that only changed in 2018, 3 years ago, when up until then they were accepting our plastic recycling to be recycled there. And so the reason why they don't accept it anymore is because the product that we were giving them was such low quality, and most of the time it was contaminated with what is supposed to be actual trash and waste, so that they couldn't recycle it. And so they're basically, all right, you had your warnings, now you just gotta stop.
Right.
Yeah.
What else we got? The anniversary of Sabra and Shatila massacre.
Yeah. Remember how we were all looking forward and hoping that when Bezos went to space, he wouldn't come back down.
Yeah, that was nice.
I don't think that anyone actually believed
Yeah,
that he wouldn't come back.
I was just crossing my fingers,
No, we were all hoping for it.
Oh, I agree. We're all hoping for it, but I don't think anyone actually thought it was going to happen.
Yeah.
He went to fucking space in a penis.
I mean, the design of the
Why
space
did he
shuttle,
have to do that?
it was.
Why
It's
did he
so
do that?
ugly.
I don't, there was no way it wasn't intentional. It looked too much like one. It looked too much like it. I think maybe it was because, I don't know, they wanted more people to talk about it, but it was freaking Jeff Bezos going to space, so I think he was going to go get enough attention about it anyway, but I guess they just wanted people to continue talking about it, because it was, especially a dick getting shot up into space.
It was just like the show, what's his yes, okay, I found it. I found a picture. I'm gonna share it with everyone. Oh, hold on. Like Dr. Evil,
I mean, Bezos is ugly AF inside and out. That's our boss you're talking about. He's watching us right now.
Do you see this?
He's watching us.
You guys don't see it. I'm gonna show you.
Fuck bald boy Bezos.
Here you see the cock rocket with the Dr. Evil comparison. Strikingly similar.
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous. Where does he get off?
I'm sure maybe it probably was a PR stunt to make us feel guilty about wanting his rocket to explode, but I don't feel guilty at all. I still hope it exploded. I don't care.
For real. Get fucked, Bezos.
While we're still on the topic of, I am huge now on the stream. Hello.
Yeah.
While we're still on the topic, I'll wait until. There we go. Okay, so while we're still on the topic of China, the latest thing in the news about China is that the UK, the US, and Australia have formed a security pact. And the U.S. is giving Australia a fleet of nuclear-powered submarines.
Oh my god! Yeah.
And so, which is really concerning because their claim is that it is meant to provide security against China. And so the reason why that's ridiculous is because we already have 15, 20 or so military bases in Southeast Asia along the Chinese Sea. So, we're already, protected as if we need to be. And so what this really says to me is that it's sort of like we're already starting a new Cold War, a new arms race, and that's just not good for society, if I had to give my opinion. What do you guys think?
Yeah, war is bad. I don't agree with war. No, even though, as Miles said, you engage in war to end all wars because at the end of the day, that's what we want. We don't want war anymore. We want to end it all. Why would we want such senseless violence for no reason? Just killing people, killing our brothers and sisters for what? Other people because they want to make sure that they get the capital that they want? Nah.
Well, yeah, it's for money. Like the Yes Men guy said, he's like, we ended this war for absolutely no reason. Like
I mean, I don't think
they love
that they're actually planning on going to war with China. We were talking about this in our group chat earlier. And I think that it's just going to be like an arms race, and similar to what happened with the first Cold War with U.S. versus the Soviet Union.
Proxy wars,
where they, because both sides have nuclear weapons, I don't think they actually want to risk using them. Would you agree on that?
Yeah, I definitely think they're. I am definitely more on the optimistic side. That might just be naivety on my part, where I don't think they would actually ever use nukes. But hey, I could be wrong. It has been used before. It was used against a country that didn't have them. It was the first time they were ever used. So
it's not looking great.
Who knows?
Doesn't look great.
Yeah, it's not looking great. So, but I do think now that there is a lot more countries do have them. There's definitely a more sense of pause for not using them. So, but let's say if America was today the only one to have nukes, they would most definitely use them. Why not? There's gonna be no retaliation.
So, did you guys hear that Macron actually canceled the deal or whatever? So
it's not that he canceled the deal.
What happened?
Because he wasn't part of the deal at all in the first place, and so basically he got into a hissy fit. As to why he was excluded. He was like, "Oh, I thought we had a good relationship. Why didn't you include us on this security deal?" And he is supposedly withdrawing his ambassadors to the U.S. and to the U.K.
Well, It says that they canceled events celebrating French and American relations.
Oh, yes.
And recalled its ambassadors. Yeah. So Jen Psaki, whatever the new lie lady, says that Australia decided to abandon the 2016 deal it struck with France for diesel-electric submarines and instead seek to acquire nuclear-powered submarines. I don't know. Fucking the lie lady. That's what I call the person who does all the briefings. Yeah,
the press secretary.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing about our conflict with China is that I would say within the recent years, China has, started to overtake us as the economic powerhouse of the world, just from the share of global trade. I saw a graph recently where it showed, 1970s to 2020, where the market share and such, and the main indicators is that China is having a lot more positive interactions with Africa and Latin America, whereas in the past America has had really bad relations or really exploitative relationships, and China is offering debt forgiveness, and no interest loans, and they're supplying the world with lots of vaccines. And so they're obviously doing the right things if they want to create more positive relationships. And I think that, the U.S. doesn't like that because we want to be, the big superpower, and we want to have this rules-based order.
Rules for thee and not for me.
Right. I mean, when it comes to rules that don't apply to us, do y'all know about the Hague Invasion Act?
No.
No? Okay. So this was, I believe, instituted by George Bush, where if any U.S. citizen is put on trial at The Hague, The Hague, the U.S. authorization to invade and rescue the person for being prosecuted at the International Criminal Court.
Nice.
So, like, it's foolproof. We just can't. Even if we do commit war crimes, we just gotta go. We can just invade and save the person from being prosecuted.
Yeah.
Okay, then. Other people's countries are our toys, and we are not interested in sharing them. That's right. Fucking ugh. So,
How about we don't share them and let the countries do their own thing?
semi-pug thing. A Texas doctor says he defied the abortion law. So he went and did an abortion, and oh my god!
And yeah, so for those who don't know, Texas recently passed. What?
Yeah, I can't hear it, so I don't know what you
Jesus Christ! I'm gonna share a screen with you just so you can fucking
Oh god.
hear when this blasts.
Yeah, why is it so loud?
I don't know, but it's at the lowest setting. Like, I don't fucking know. Ah! Okay. Okay, sorry, Seth. I just couldn't hear, like, anything you were saying, because...
Oh, I was just going to say, for those who don't know, Texas recently passed a bill banning abortions after 6 weeks. Everyone is reasonably upset about this because it's really bad and it infringes on women's rights. And what really sucks about it is that the Supreme Court ruled that it was constitutional in the middle of the night on a shadow docket rule, which means that they don't say who voted what. So it was sort of like not a blind vote, but like it's blind to the public. And then there is a DOJ prosecution against Texas trying to somehow overturn things in some way or another. But what really sucks about it is that I would imagine that the Democrats are just going to use this for the next 2 years or so as campaign fodder, saying, oh, we're going to do something about this when you got to vote us in so we can do something about it, whether or not they actually will.
I just, like, what kind of fucking democracy is this if, you know, all of our rights can be taken, like, every other year? Like, this is not. This is liberal democracy, you know? Like, this is that shit that is not really helpful, you know? Like, yay, everyone gets a choice.
Grand Cathedral, good. You guys have no issues killing babies, but force people to get vaxxed. People don't value life. Stop playing. What?
Killing a child so you can have fun? Yes, because the only reason to get an abortion is because you're a party girl. Huh?
What?
Is that right?
How about being responsible?
How about
How about you
sucking
be
my...
responsible? Take the damn vaccine. Fucking dumbass.
Bye. Goodbye.
Yeah, we're not gonna entertain that kind of rhetoric.
No, we not.
I was about to say before you block them, ban them. I was about to say I wish you had been aborted.
But they say
They
I'm a
can still hear,
tanky. I'm a tanky. Yeah, I'm a tanky.
They just can't type in
Yeah,
the
I'm a
chat,
tanky.
so fuck
We're riding that tank, mowing down
the
the fucking snowflakes.
That's
Mowing
right,
down the snowflakes.
You don't like abortions? Get fucked.
We're gonna mow you down in the chat.
We just
No,
did.
I do record my high scores on baby killing. I'm currently at 240.
Nice.
Yeah.
In other Texas-related news, Beto O'Rourke is running for governor against Greg Abbott, and he was really the only person I think who would have run. And so, like, I don't know. I mean, maybe with all of this outrage around the way that Abbott has been handling the pandemic and the abortion bill, maybe that people will, change their minds on voting for him. Who knows? I mean, obviously, I don't think that Beto would be like, this grand socialist savior, but he would certainly be better than Abbott.
Yeah, I think he would. Maybe. I don't know. Even though this is quite literally my state, I don't fucking care. I don't think Beto is going to win. I think people were people were just hyping it up way too much. People thinking that, look, Beto is so close. He might win. He might win. I can't believe this.
He told all the
he's not. At the end of the day,
that he was going to go to their house and take their guns.
Yeah,
yeah.
See,
that's
line.
That
was
That's gonna get you.
That's
gonna. Yeah, that's not great. That's
gonna
get you in trouble,
what's so
buddy.
bad about that is because the Republicans say the same thing about Joe Biden. They say, "Oh, Joe Biden's gonna take our guns," and if you actually do the thing that they're fear-mongering about...
I'm telling you guys I'm in Texas, all right? I'm not going to say which city I'm in. I'm in Texas, but that's it.
Texas is a pretty big place. It's kind of hard to pinpoint you down from there.
Exactly. You're going to be a lot tougher to find me I'm fine with you knowing I'm in Texas, but beyond that... The one with SpaceX... How many places in Texas has SpaceX? I'm sure plenty.
Probably a lot.
Places. Yeah, I think Houston has one.
Completely doxxed. They got you.
Oh no! What are you gonna do about it?
Caboose, please don't talk Reggie here. Nice.
Fuck, Caboose! I will find you.
My God.
Wait, is there really only one?
Caboose is in Georgia. Actually, he's not even in Georgia anymore. That's funny, but he has GA on his thing.
What am I gonna do about it?
There's actually more Reggies in Texas than I realized. So,
Caboose just completely doxed himself. Caboose, stop it.
We'll all send Reggie flowers.
You know what? If this continues going on, I will dox myself out of spite. You can't dox me
Reggie
when I dox
Anarchist
myself.
Arc.
How does that make you an anarchist?
I don't know.
It's a joke. It's don't tell me what to do. Hilarious joke. All right.
Hold on, I'll be right back.
What do we got next?
We should probably wrap up soon, right?
Yeah, soon.
Because you gotta go.
Yes, it is my son's birthday, and I'm going to decorate the house with dinosaurs tonight.
Tell that absolute mad lad happy birthday.
I will.
I would say that we covered more or less everything that I had in my mind. If you want to add anything else.
I did want to talk about Alex Navalny for a little bit. Because he's Kremlin critic, Navalny's ally, say vote communist to hurt the ruling party. I just thought it was weird. Isn't he like a white supremacist or something?
He is a white supremacist. He's well known for calling Muslims and immigrants cockroaches.
Oh God.
Wow.
Yeah, so if you see Alex Navalny being stand, that's bad, folks. Don't let
basically
people do that.
In the same way that some people, their only political belief is, Democrats are bad.
Yeah.
His only belief is that, Putin is corrupt, which I agree, Putin is corrupt, but you have to be a little bit.
And that's the whole problem with the liberals absolutely standing Navalny because he isn't Putin. You don't look at the fact that Navalny, I believe, is considerably worse. And Putin sucks. He's not a good guy. He's not a secret comrade, no matter what certain people say. But
at least he's not invading countries and overturning elections and doing coups like we do. So, like,
Yeah.
it could be a lot worse. But yes, not a very
People
good
do
person,
say
not
that
a very...
aristocracy. I've seen people say it. I'm not going to say it by name, but yeah, what Muro just said. Yeah, the whole thing, the whole conspiracy or whatever that Putin is the secret comrade was that he was KGB, which means absolutely nothing. Like, because like, oh well, he had to be a part of the Communist Party. So what? Gorbachev was a part of the Communist Party.
Yeah.
Brezhnev was a part of the Communist Party. Khrushchev was a part of the Communist Party. What exactly is your point that Putin is a secret comrade because he was also in the party?
Yeah, it's not great. So yeah, don't. Alex is not a good person. Okay, another thing I want to talk about before we go is Dr. Fauci said we are unlikely to eradicate COVID, but we hope for a strong control of the virus. So basically, guys, we're so fucked.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it's not going to be over because people are freaking protesting about wearing a fucking mask. You know, the most oppressive thing ever, a mask.
No, I think we've moved on from the anti-mask protests. We've moved on to the anti-vaccine mandate protests, which I think have a smidgen more legitimacy to them for, just like, losing some civil liberties and such. And I think those are some civil liberties I think we're willing to give up in the name of public safety, and it's also constitutional based off of historical context. But people have been taking it to like extremes, saying, this is like Jim
This
Crow
is communism, brother.
That too. People have also said, this is like Nazi Germany, where
they do say that.
They're segregating us based off of whether you're vaccinated or not.
Oh shit! That other thing that I want to talk about too, the fucking the countries. If you've been vaccinated in certain countries, you are not considered vaccinated.
And I believe that's because
it's fucking
is that
bad.
Is that for travel to the U.S. or just travel to the U.K.? I think I saw it was the U.K.
Started with a U, so we're all the same anyway. Speak the same language. So.
If I had to guess, that's because those countries are using either the Russian or the Chinese vaccine.
Does that make it less effective, or like?
No, they're equally effective as ours, if not more. They're just delegitimized by the Western governments.
I just don't know what the fucking purpose of that is. Like what is the purpose of that? Hello, I don't know. Just.
Yes. Someone says AstraZeneca is not considered vaccinated. It's the main vaccine in Europe. And to my knowledge, AstraZeneca and Sinovac are both, very effective, and they're the most widely distributed across the world along those lines. But yeah, the whole, you can oppose, the existence of vaccine mandates, and the main reason people oppose them, I would say, is because in some cities like New York City, and I think like LA and Seattle are starting to do, where you can't go into restaurants or bars, etc., without having your vaccine. And so even though, sure, it is free to everyone, and people have, their hesitancies based off of, other past historical events and issues, etc., the main argument that I'm seeing is that the people who don't have the time to take off work for the side effects of the vaccine are like the really poor working class. And
but that's just capitalism's fault.
Right. So like that the only argument that's saying is that, okay, sure, Biden should have said, mandated paid time off for the vaccine. But that doesn't delegitimize the mandate, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, there definitely should have been a way to make sure that these people are still taken care of, to make sure that the people are not going to be left alone, left to fend for themselves just because they're getting the vaccine that they're forced to take. I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, we still support mandatory vaccinations, but yeah, there's definitely definitely an argument to be made that a lot of these people cannot take the time off to deal with the side effects because their jobs won't let them.
And more specifically on that is that, majority of our country lives paycheck to paycheck. And if you miss, let's say, 2 days of work from, some bad side effects, then you're going to have to scrounge up some money for rent or food or something.
Yeah. It could really hurt you. For example, now we are seeing a whole lot of people going homeless right now because they can't pay for it, because they had to take time off because they had COVID, and or they lost their jobs and stuff, and it's just the handling of COVID was just absolutely laughable. It was so terrible that they said, "Oh no, you have to do all these things," which of course, yeah, I do support. I do support the lockdowns. I support the people having to stay home. I support the vaccine mandate, a mask mandate, but they never had a safety net to make sure these people, while they are following these rules, that they don't die in the process, that they don't end up losing so much in the process.
I mean, there was, I believe it was the Social Security Act or something like that, where that allows, that would have allowed, if he's not going to do it, but that would have allowed Biden to give everyone emergency health care because of the pandemic. And that would have, contributed to the safety net, in that, so many people have gotten ill and sick and they can't pay for it because they don't have health care. And the main issue, if to tie things back to the topic of company towns, most people today have their health care tied to their employer, which obviously would also be the case under company towns. But, when people lost their jobs when COVID hit, they lost their health care as well. And so the government just didn't do anything about that, which was pretty bad.
Yeah. That was pretty bad. Okay, so we're gonna raid out. The person who we're raiding, we are doing for a strategic reason, and we do not endorse their content. Okay.
No. What's happening?
This is what we're doing. We're raiding Haz.
Ah.
We do not endorse their content.
No!
I will let you know the reason for this after we log off. Yes, is Natalie Revolts on? Hold on, let's see if Natalie Revolts is on. Yeah. We'll do Natalie Revolts. Oh, Natalie Revolts is on.
Or it is though, so.
Okay, yeah. Actually, we'll raid Natalie. We'll do info the other time, and I'll tell you why we'll do that later.
Yes.
But yeah,
I'm familiar with your story. Okay, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
we will raid somebody cool, but there is a specific reason for me doing this. It's not just. It's for a reason. But
also good to see you.
Natalie.
Sal looked up her troll game.
No. Okay. I did just get unbanned in there,
and
so
yeah, those
that's
tours
kind
are
of
fucking
nice.
insane. They're like,
but that's not
you
why.
Can see,
That's
I've seen some.
That's exactly why.
That's not why.
Yes, she talks about it all the time.
Okay, I did talk about it that one day because it just happened. Okay. Okay.
Well, until then, thank you everyone for being here with us, and hope you learned something new, and I hope you enjoyed our commentary.
Yes, love you.
I always enjoy going over the news. It's great to learn a lot of what's going on around the world.
Well, I guess we'll just go out.
Yeah.
What are you doing with the Daily Worker?
Your Ned must have left it here.
Your boyfriend reads the Daily Worker? What is he, a communist?
He reads everything, you know. Ned's very well read.
Maybe he's just very well
Well,
read.
read.